Okay, tonight's Sunday Night Talk is here. It's week 10 in the NFL, and I am on the couch. You're going to find out why. So, before we get to the show, I want to remind everybody to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do it right now. That's where all my content is, stand-up comedy clips, my interview series, not to mention put up a YouTube short for week 10. It's up there, went up there today. We just wrapped up the Sunday night game. Omar Carmona is here. We're going to talk about all the games. It's going to get a little crazy. I'm going to let you know right now. So, let's start the show. All right, it is the Sunday Night Talk. Omar Carmona is here. We just wrapped up the Sunday night game. It is 10:38 Central Time as I record this. Omar, Detroit somehow wins that game.
Somehow came back. They looked dead. Although they looked dead, Texans never got that knockout punch.
Yeah, I wrote it down in my notes here. Here's the points I wanted to hit for the Detroit game. Detroit had no offense. Houston is good, but cannot put away these Lions. And then lastly, the turnovers were just a total wild card. Ended up keeping both teams in this game in some weird way. So I was telling you before we hit the recording, I don't know if either of these teams deserve to win this game.
No.
So what do you make of this Detroit win? Team of Destiny, they grinded out a win, winning ugly. What's the locker room speech for you for this game?
You know what? They're winning. They're winning. And you don't tinker too much with it. They're a team that, they can play in front, they can play behind. They play on the road, they win at home. So this is just a well-rounded football team. And I think right now the deepest team in the NFL.
Well, you have to be concerned with the offense, though, because the offense was, what the heck was going on with Goff today? Threw 5 picks. Who was that guy that was playing
And then to
quarterback?
still get the win, which only goes to show you.
I think Houston was playing great D, too. Like, I think this was a really good opponent. So, did we get a Super Bowl preview?
Yeah, I picked the Texans in the beginning of the year. Obviously, it's going to be a tall task if they're going to get through Kansas City or Baltimore, maybe even the Bills. But then again, right now I do think that right now the two best teams right now are Kansas City and Baltimore
Really? So you don't
in the
have them.
AFC. In the AFC.
Yeah. The AFC seems to be a little bit tougher. Oh, actually, I don't know about that, but the AFC has the Chiefs in it. So the road goes through Kansas City.
Right.
I wrote down, like, watching this game, Houston started off so fast. They looked so good. They got the early turnover. And you know what Goff reminded me of? He reminded me of the Super Bowl golf from a couple years ago. Remember when he was on the Rams and they showed up to the Super Bowl with absolutely no offense? So I wrote down, when he turns into Super Bowl golf, I'm naming him liability golf. And ironically, CJ Stroud kind of turned into liability Stroud for a second there.
He
But
did.
Goff was really making me nervous in this game.
He did.
Did,
And,
I
and you
don't.
know,
I did you trust him? I didn't.
no. He just did not that defensive scheme that the Texans had ready for him.
Mhm.
They did a really good job. He had a few bad throws. Few bad throws.
He was throwing the ball in the dirt a lot too, which was really strange. I didn't trust. I didn't trust him for, I think, 2.5 to 3 quarters in this game. But I'm gonna say it was play calling that fixed this. Like, because I got nervous, and then they called a screen or they called something to dump off, something that was more low risk. put the ball in the hands of their skill players. And I think it bailed them out somehow, some way. I did like how at the start of the third quarter, Melissa Stark does the Dan Campbell interview, and he almost doesn't have a voice. His face is all red. I get the feeling that locker room speech was a little volatile. I think he laid into the team at halftime because he had no voice for that interview in the third quarter. He was hot. I think he was really hot at his team. His team underperformed in that first half. So what do you think about, all right, let's go good win or bad loss? If you're Houston, how bad is this loss?
It's a bad loss because you didn't put your foot on the gas. And
it was 23-7. They couldn't
so
close them out.
Very bad loss. Very bad loss.
So you're a little bit on the devastated side for this Houston.
Yeah, it's a devastating loss for Houston.
That one play where the Houston receiver was wide open and Stroud puts the ball up there and the Detroit defender comes out of nowhere and picks it. Like, Detroit was on the mat. That might have sealed it. And all of a sudden they had new life with that pick. And then I think Goff threw a pick on the other side of that possession. Yeah. But, oh, God, they were so dead. And he picked it. I don't know how they did it. That was really, really crazy. That being said, the Houston kicker shanks one to give him a lead.
And the Detroit kicker kicks the last two field goals to tie and to win, basically making them by inches.
Yeah, that's true. Game of inches. It almost kind of scrubbed the upright. We didn't get a true Collinsworth doink, but we got pretty close. Collinsworth was good in this game. He was having fun. Like, I wouldn't say this was Collinsworth's best game, but maybe his funnest. Like, he was having a lot of fun with his, like, oh. He had a lot of, like, there'd be a run and he would go, oh. Like, this was a good one for the Collinsworth grunt.
Very
I think.
Good.
Tirico, I think, did a lot of heavy lifting in this game, too. That was really good. Houston got weird in this game. What was going on where C.J. Stroud fumbled the ball, but his own lineman kind of took the ball from him? Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely some panic on them.
Yeah, do you think it was panic? Like, do you think the moment got kind of big?
Yeah, definitely. And again, they just didn't put him away.
Mike, I'll take a double helping of whatever this game's serving, Mike. Just put me down for seconds of this game, Mike. It's not pretty. Yeah, so my thinking is if we did watch a Super Bowl preview, this is the game that Houston learns the most from. Like, the table was set Sunday night, home game. They're in the lead. Everything is clicking. And somehow they let Detroit come back in this game and beat them in regulation. So they need to bounce back, and it's going to come down to coaching. And if C.J. Stroud cannot make those little interception mistakes, the sack. All that being said, he was really good in this game. Questions?
Yeah, a lot of questions.
What'd you think of Houston's uniforms?
I love the uniforms today. I thought the best helmet. That's the best helmet in football.
It took me like a quarter to figure out what I was looking at. What was on their helmet? Like, this
I think it was just one of the horns.
It was just a totally different helmet. This wasn't a different color. This is a totally different helmet they went with. Do you think there was any low-key Houston owner was trying to signify the Republican wave that happened on election night? You think anything like that was going on? Conspiracy, Carmona?
I think it could have been. It could have been.
Oh, I thought you were gonna thumb your nose at my idea there, but no, you don't.
I'm not gonna bite. I'm not gonna bite.
Oh no! Now you're backpedaling. All right,
backtracking.
Did you hear
Carmona?
Did you hear Tirico say, like, oh, we've got a lot of Detroit fans in the crowd tonight, along with Houston. We got red and blue. We just had the election. We got red and blue in the stands, and Collinsworth just goes, I'm not getting into that. Like, Collinsworth was like, no, we're not talking election.
Yeah, and I have a feeling I know what Collinsworth's opinion is.
Ooh, do you? Yeah, I'll turn the mics off. Tell me who you voted for. I get the feeling Collinsworth and Tariq are going to have a little like, hey, don't bring that shit up again next game. I think there's going to be a little sticking point from that comment. I'm not getting into that, Mike. All right. Well, I love the game. It was ugly, though. Really ugly. Detroit scrapped it out. Houston, I like Houston. They're fun. They're a fun team. That lack of offense was concerning, though, on Detroit's part, and Houston's inability to put it away was also concerning. So it's a weird game. Like I think you said it too. That's a weird game. Strange. Strange game. I loved it to end a Sunday night though.
Yeah, great game. Great game for that.
Well, okay, let's go to some games. But before we do that, I want to unveil to you, Omar, a new look for myself. Because I'm on the couch.
I like it.
I'm very casual because the Raiders had a bye this week.
Right?
And as you had last week, I love the bye week because now I don't have the potential to get depressed.
You're not sad. No.
No, no Minshew fumble. No Antonio Pierce going for it on 4th and 4 on the 50 when we're down 4 points. So I went to the couch, and even though the Commanders lost today, my new favorite coach is Dan Quinn, mainly because I like his look. He does the backwards hat and glasses. So I'm going to unveil my Dan Quinn look for today's show.
Okay.
Okay, so here come the glasses.
I like that.
Okay, here's my Dan Quinn look. My backwards hat and my glasses. This is my Dan Quinn look.
I like that look. I think that's a
Yeah.
good look.
Even though he didn't win today. Okay, so we talked Houston and Detroit. Great Sunday night game. Really fun. It's been a big week for for America in general, Omar. So I'm going to throw a couple of teams at you, and I call this the NFL middle class. We know this election was run heavily on the middle class. The middle class is the backbone. We got to lower the taxes. We got to increase the jobs for the middle class. Okay, Omar, I wrote down all the teams that are either 500, one game above, or one game below 500. This is what I call the NFL middle class.
Okay.
And I want to get your reaction on all these teams. First one, your San Francisco 49ers are 5-4. Moving forward, how deep can San Francisco go into the playoffs?
If they make it, I think they could get a wild card win.
You know, I purposely did not text you all during the San Francisco game because I wanted to see if you would break the ice and text me, and you did not. You kept silent again, Omar, on the San Francisco game. So you're still not flipped on them. You are still very, very bullish on your own team. All right, we'll talk about their game in a minute. Next team, the LA Rams. They play tomorrow. They're 4-4. What do you got on the Rams?
Another team. If they make it, I don't think they get a playoff win. You know,
They lose. They lose in the wild card round.
The best team in that division right now, to me, is the Cardinals.
Yeah, they were awesome today. They beat the hell out of the Jets. Next team, Denver is 5-5. Where are you going with Denver?
I almost got Kansas City today. Almost nipped them. Disappointing way to lose that game. And, Kansas City was on the hook. Stay undefeated. But, Denver's a scrappy team. They're well coached. And I think 5-5 at this point in the season, it exceeds my expectations, my preseason expectations for the Broncos.
Oh, really? So it doesn't sound like you have like playoff expectations, but it sounds like you're still kind of impressed. So would you think Denver can make it to upper middle class by the end of the season?
Um, I don't
Can
think
they
I don't.
can they go up one tax bracket?
No, I think this is where they're gonna float around.
Hmm. Okay. Next middle class team, the Chicago Bears are 4-5. What do you think?
No, they're gonna be filing for government assistance soon.
Yep, I agree with that. This team is not good.
They're unraveling, and I think Eberflus's days in Chicago are numbered.
I think that's really possible. I was looking at some Instagram posts of fans chatting or doing the fire Eberflus in the tunnel on the way home. I agree with you. Chicago looks like a mess, and we don't really give this award, but I'm gonna create a award called the Fall Apart Award. Ever since that Washington Hail Mary pass, it just seems like they lost all energy. It was done in one play. Because remember, they won the week before and they were like, gonna win this Washington game. And then it was all gone. And then they lost the last two and they looked terrible. Last team in the NFL middle class, Seattle, 4-5, one game under 500. What about Seattle? Can they make a run? Can they get out of the middle class?
I don't think so either.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think it's their time is done? Like they got the most out of what they got? Is Geno like did everybody figure out Geno?
I have a sneeze. Excuse me.
Mm. Wow,
Sorry about that one.
you're allergic
That one was a dead air there.
you're
Um,
allergic to good points.
no, I just don't have enough trust in the Seahawks team right now.
Why not? What don't you like?
The defense, I think they could be leaky sometimes. And again, I just don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Geno Smith's a bad quarterback, but I don't know if he is that guy that's going to take them to a championship game.
4-5. So that's our NFL middle class. Do you agree with my analogy? Teams at 500, one above or one below is the NFL middle class.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Any teams like you might throw in there despite the record to the NFL middle class?
Any repeat that one?
Any other teams you might throw in there despite their record that you would call the NFL middle class? New Orleans?
Despite their record, I think
Tampa.
Cincinnati. I think
Oh,
Cincinnati.
really? Yeah. Okay.
Because like I think they're 4-6, but like gosh, they really kept they really gave us a show, and Joe Burrow is having such a great year, you know. Um,
Yeah.
it's just he's just not on a very good team, but him alone is enough to get them in middle class.
Yeah, it's like Cincinnati is like the business that is working at a high volume that really isn't turning a profit, but they're breaking even every year. So, yeah, I would put Cincinnati in the NFL middle class, but I just think they find ways to lose every single week. That Thursday night game against Baltimore, they played great, but they can't win against Baltimore. And then next week they'll play great and they'll find a way to lose again. I just think it's the season from hell for Cincinnati. All right, that was a good election round of the NFL middle class. So I got a little game for you this week. Since, again, back to election season, I took a poll of some of my comedian friends, some people that you know as well, and I asked 5 people if you had your choice and you're going to your team's home game coming up, what jersey would you wear? So I got 5 people, some you know, some you don't. I'm going to describe them to you. I'm going to see if you can guess which jersey these people are going to wear. So,
Okay.
first up on the polling, you know this guy, Chris Cordova, who has been on this very show. He runs the Chuco Life Instagram. Big El Paso guy. big San Antonio guy. I asked him, what jersey would you wear to your favorite team's home game? And Chris is a Steelers fan. I don't know if you knew this, but he is a big, big Steelers fan from back in the day. So
Okay.
I got his answer in his words. Well, what do you think our buddy Chris Cordova would choose as his jersey?
He would wear. Ah, I'm going to go Heinz Ward
Hmm.
jersey.
Okay. Chris Cordova chose a Jerome Bettis away jersey.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. All right. This is the game.
Another one I would have gone. I was thinking, and probably on the same a Rod Woodson. Rod Woodson home.
Hmm. Rod Woodson home. Forgot about Rod Woodson. That was the era where the cornerback returned punts also. Like, what
Yeah.
happened to that era? We don't have that anymore.
No, it's just too valuable. You can't put your no. I mean, a good cornerback is too valuable. You can't put your best cornerbacks, in
Hmm.
there. These shutdown guys. Like, and I know Sauce sometimes, he returns, but gosh, you can't risk that type of lockdown corner. I think on a punt return.
Yeah, I guess so. But it was like a trend. Like Deion Sanders did it, and almost like other teams were like, we got to have our cornerback do that too. It was like that. It was a strange time. All right, next person. You don't know this person. I'm going to describe him to you. Fellow LA comedian. He has a podcast he does on Wednesdays called No Credentials, talking sports and whatnot. I've interviewed him. Now, this is a Minnesota fan who has denounced Minnesota this year and tried to glob on to the Bears. However, I will tell you, he chose a Minnesota jersey for this survey without any prompting. He went back to his roots. He's a few years younger than me. That being said, what jersey would comedian Sean Leary choose to go to a home Minnesota Vikings game?
I am going to go. How old is he?
He's a couple years younger than me. Let's call him 39, 40-ish. He's a
All right.
Minnesota lifelong fan, but he denounced them this year. But he
The
did
lifelong
choose a
fan.
Minnesota
It's
jersey.
gonna be Randy Moss home.
Wow, you almost got it. He chose Randy Moss white.
Oh,
Half a point. Half an electoral vote for that one. All right, let's continue. You know him, you love him. Diamante Williams.
easy.
What is his jersey? I
Tony
don't even need to tell you his team.
Tony Romo. No, because no, because at the end of the day, he's still living. Like, he's just so proud about those rings from the mid '90s. So he's gonna go Michael Irvin White.
Diamante Williams chose Des Bryant navy blue. His
Guy's a
words.
what a loser.
No one the Des Bryant, huh? Well, I agree with you. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I need to relive the glory years. And I got to go Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, or Troy Aikman. Done. Like, no, there's no other choice. It's those three. That's it. All right. Next contestant. He's an LA comedian too. He does a podcast about the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, by the way, somehow he got Dick LeBeau to be on his podcast somehow this summer. So, Pittsburgh fan, a couple years older than me. His name is Kyle Kreis, and he is going to a home Pittsburgh Steelers game. What jersey do you think a longtime Pittsburgh native would choose?
I am going to go Terry Bradshaw away.
Wow, okay, not bad. However,
Oh,
oh, changing your vote?
changing my vote.
Oh, wow. Voter ballot is invalid.
Mean Joe Green, black.
He chose
Wait, hold on. Final answer, Franco Harris Black.
Okay.
There, final answer.
He chose Barry Foster, unspecified. Did not say home or away. Barry Foster. When's the last time you heard that name?
That's been a long time, but I'm glad somebody still brought it up.
All right. And our last contestant, a guest contributor to the show, my cousin, Adrian Ramirez, cousin Adrian, Denver Bronco fan, going to a home game. What do you think his jersey of choice would be? All right. You
You
know
two,
Adrian. I know Adrian. He's about 10 years younger than you and I. He's an El Paso native.
I'm gonna go Orange Crush, John Elway. Final answer, but I also thought maybe Navy Shannon Sharp. But go with the Elway one.
Cousin Adrian went with current home jersey, Bo Nix. He's all in on Bo Nix, Omar.
All in. Hey, good for him.
You went too old. Like, he's younger than us. Like, that's not his era, I don't think. Like, I would have said, like, Jake Plummer or something like that. All right, that was that was the Jersey game. Not bad, not bad. We're gonna run through these games real quick. Let me tell you. Let's start with the games I skipped today. The Germany game, New
Yeah,
York
well,
Giants versus Carolina.
we can handle that one fast. The Giants are just playing bad football. I'm glad to see that apparently Bryce Young gets another win now. And hopefully he can get everything back on track. But at the end of the day, the Giants are playing some bad football. I don't like Brian Dable's chances of coming back. Obviously, the Giants are going to be in the market for a quarterback at the draft. Possibly, maybe should you pair Malik Neighbors with Shador Sanders. That could be something special. But we can. I think we're done talking about these teams. The Giants at this point are just trying to get jockey draft position at this point.
Yeah, I think you said everything there is to say about that game. Somehow Carolina's won 2 games in a row. And I just wrote down, I think we punished Germany with this game somehow, some way. Like, hey, Germany, you want a game? Guess what? We're still mad at you about the whole World War II thing. You get to watch Giants and
We're going to send
Carolina.
you these guys. It was. I at least thought I like that they did send the Panthers away, wearing. I really like those jerseys and that black helmet.
Oh, okay. So you found some positive to it.
Yeah.
That's a Germany game. Another very skippable game, but it's worth talking about. New England beats Chicago 19-3. I told you already, I'm giving Chicago the Fall Apart Award after that Washington Hail Mary that killed them. Caleb Williams, would you go over or under 150 yards passing in this game?
Under.
You would be right. He was 16 of 30, 120 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, got sacked a lot. I think he got sacked 5 times. I might be low on that. How much do you think he got sacked?
I'll guess 5 times.
Or we'll go over under. What do you think? Over under 5 times.
Push.
Push.
5 times.
Let's take a look. You're going 5. Caleb Williams.
Oh, he was sacked 9 times.
Wow. Jeez, we were way under. Why did I say 5? That is so low. If he had only been sacked 5 times, they might have 30 points.
Wow.
Another game we can breeze through because I hardly watched it. Buffalo at Indianapolis. Flacco had 3 interceptions, 30-20. This game wasn't even that close, though.
No, it wasn't that close. Buffalo kind of took a little while to get the motor started, but ultimately they prevailed and they got a big showdown next weekend with Kansas City.
There are some huge games next week. Who does Baltimore play?
Is it Kansas City? Yeah.
Yeah, Baltimore plays someone huge next week too, that I forgot about. It's
Baltimore
big.
and Steelers. That's gonna
Baltimore
be a big
Steelers,
one.
correct? Yeah. And then I'm looking at I'm going through all the teams that look good this week. I'm looking at their remaining schedule. Everybody's schedule is kind of tough. Like there is no cakewalks through the second half of the season.
These seedings have yet to be revealed. But it's going to be tough.
We still have a way to go. Denver at Kansas City. Denver really feisty. Should have won this game. 14-16. They lose. They
They should
block
have
a
won.
field goal. Kansas City.
Not many teams have been able to during this dynasty run of the Kansas City Chiefs. Not many teams have had them in that position in Arrowhead Stadium.
You're
Um,
right.
so just the fact that they were there, it's so crushing. But hey, the Broncos team, they're 5-5, um, and uh,
Did you
they got
watch
they
KC
have a
Tampa
chance.
Bay on Monday night?
Yes, and
That
that
was
was a
another one where like they just grinded out a win. Mahomes gets almost knocked flat on his
yeah,
face.
and remember how disappointed Baker Mayfield looked when Mahomes won the toss
Yeah.
because he kind of knew what was going to happen. And that's the thing, like you only have a limited amount of shots to knock the Chiefs out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, didn't they tie it with the touchdown?
Right.
I was like, dude, go for two. Like, don't leave anything to. I hate overtime. Overtime used to be like a treat. Now I hate
Well,
it. I'm like, go for
and,
two, win or lose it right there.
and I
Don't
think that
leave it.
was if we go back to the Thursday night game, I think that was Cincinnati's mentality was, look, this is
They went
Baltimore.
to, yep,
We just gotta get this game over with. We don't want to put it to another coin flip. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Um,
I agreed with that decision. Go for two. They got a weird call.
on the
Maybe it could
road,
have.
I think you got to when you're playing one of the best teams, you got to.
Mahomes was surprisingly inaccurate in this Denver game today. However, they're 9-0. You sent me a text earlier in the week. Do your thing on dynasties. What you
Well,
think is going on here?
I think we sent what are the best? We're talking about dynasties, win streaks. I think the statistics spoke about win streaks, and when you think about it, they were all what was very a big trademark of those teams, where they are all considered to be a dynasty. Now there were two teams that were not there, and because of like long win streaks, and it was the Dallas Cowboys of the '90s, and it was the Pittsburgh Steelers of the '70s. And I'm still going to say those are dynasties. However, I do think that statistic of their win streaks, I think that is a huge tell of a dynasty. But
You need a
even though
win streak.
a huge win streak like that, I mean, that's just sustained excellence. These win streaks are divided up in seasons usually. And I just think that it was uh, I think that in the Steelers' case, they're still a dynasty, even though they didn't have a streak like that, um, because the Steelers had to play the Raiders every year. You know what I mean? And that
Mhm.
was a tough rivalry. Sometimes that conference was the winner between those two is going to win the Super Bowl. You know, and
I see. Yeah.
you know.
The era
uh,
has a lot to do with your win streak
Yeah, and I
slash
think and I think
dynasty
and I think the
ability.
Cowboys had an impressive dynasty, and I want to give them more props because they had to go against the Niners, and that was a great Niners team. And I know I'm biased, but that I think only speaks to how great the Cowboys were back then. They beat the Niners. They
Mm,
they were they were beating Brett Favre and the high powered
yeah.
um
There were some good Giants teams in there too in those
yeah.
years.
And then they still had to fight off the Eagles and Giants and Redskins, as in their own division, which, they were some decent teams back then. So I and so then to me also was huge was that New England had two of the longest win streaks of all time. And so that I think even
Right.
more talks about the greatness of Belichick, Brady, and the Kraft family owning that team.
We're starting to get a little media talk about the Kansas City Dynasty three-peat potential now. Like this is the first I've started to hear it. Is that they're the only team that's undefeated. They're 9-0. They're going for three in a row.
I
I
know
think
they're
we're
going for
finally.
three in a row. I don't see it happening though. I do think they are going to lose this year in the playoffs.
I mean, their offense looks, I mean, totally different than 2 years ago. It looks totally
Right.
different than last year. Last year, their offense was down, and their offense is down more than last year, yet they're somehow still winning.
Well,
So,
and then that's the part that keeps them in. You say, wow, they're just a very, gritty team too, and they'll just keep
yeah,
finding ways to win.
right, right. It is starting to, we're at least starting to talk about the Kansas City potential for Just something that has never been done before. All right. Atlanta at New Orleans. New Orleans has a new coach. And someone should write in the Bible or bylaws of the NFL, when you get a new interim coach, somehow you always win that next game. I don't know why it happens, but it does. Atlanta 17, New Orleans 20. And I got in my notes, we got our first full on Kirk Cousins sighting of November in this game. That was nuts. That was Cousins as we know him. How did it go? Like, I don't have the scenario here, but it was, what was it? It was third down. He throws it in the middle of the field. They have no timeouts. It's fourth down and he throws it short. What happened there? It was bad again. It was full Cousins.
You know, those are some two crazy teams, I think, in that division, the Falcons and the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes those teams look that they can beat anybody,
Yeah. Atlanta missed 3 field goals in this game too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so that was tough, but not a good performance, and definitely, especially considering how the Saints looked like they were reeling, that's a game the Falcons have to win.
Yeah, that's true. 6 losses in a row, new head coach. And Atlanta goes, we're forgetting Kirk Cousins. Like, it's almost like if you're betting this in Vegas, Vegas needs to put by every Atlanta game, parentheses, Cousins. And it's like, do with that with what you will.
Right. Absolutely.
We're talking November Cousins here. All right, next game. It's time. San Francisco at Tampa Bay, Omar. How come, did you know McCaffrey was going to be back?
Yeah.
How come I didn't know this? That seems like that would be the biggest story of the week. I turn it on, I'm like, McCaffrey?
Yeah, I knew they were coming back. He was coming back, but he looked good. He looked very good.
He had 107 yards offense. And I thought, I made this thought, but I talked myself out of it. If McCaffrey doesn't play, the Niners lose this game. But I talked myself out of it because the Niners missed 3 field goals. So yeah. I don't think that's true per se. However, he contributed greatly to this win, 23-20. Tom Brady, this is the Tom Brady game. Remember last week? Maybe it was just me. I thought Tom Brady was really good last week, and I thought he was good in this game again. Every podcast I listened to or radio show I listened to regularly thought he was terrible last week. Am I crazy?
I think you're correct. I don't know if you're jaded, but he's just not good.
Well, then I wonder, what do we want out of him?
I think he's getting better, though.
Yeah, well, I'd agree with that. Yeah. But what do we want out of him? We want him to give, dirt? We want him to call these games? What do we want out of this poor guy? All of a sudden, we're expecting him to be Buck and Aikman?
I'm not.
Why are we so hard on him?
I think we just let him go. He's Tom Brady. I mean, if the goat wants to talk, you give him a microphone and talk. You know what I mean? I think he earned that right in football.
I don't know why we're so hard on him, to be honest. Like, he's boring. He talks. It was like it's his first time ever broadcasting. Give the guy a break.
Like I said, it doesn't matter though. Like, he's the GOAT. Like, what? Like, you just want the GOAT talking. You know what I mean? Like, Michael Jordan's personality. I mean, he's always seemed kind of like, he had a great media face, but I don't know.
It was not a good speaker.
But not like exactly. But you'd still have him talking just because it's him,
I still would like to know what he has to say. Yeah, you're right. I'm that same way with Tom Brady, and I don't know what's going on with why people hate it. Maybe it's just Tom Brady effect. Maybe get him and Gronk in there for a game. Who cares? Like, to have fun. Like, these announcers don't add anything to the game unless it's Collinsworth.
Right.
Like, we get enough out of the game. I thought he was fine, and I thought he was good today. Like, he was fun. He was talking a lot. He was personable. I don't get it. I thought he was fine. I thought he was good. Anyway, this was another game I thought neither team deserved to win this game, Omar. That last drive, that Baker drive with the stiff arm, how many dumbass penalties did they call on that drive that were like, was that a penalty? That was roughing the passer?
Yeah, that was a little that was a little strange.
In Walmart shooting changed El Paso forever. In the
Didn't get
Halo
it.
True Crimes podcast,
Whoa, hold on. You're being corrupted. You got a virus. You got a computer
Yeah, that was
virus.
weird.
Whoa.
Something popped up.
Whoa. Election fraud coming up there. Uh, 2320. Still no on San Francisco, huh? You still don't think.
I don't have the trust in them. I just don't. Again, they got up to a good start, and they just kind of also just I
Gosh.
really equate them to the Texans. You know, that was my Super Bowl pick, the Texans and the Niners, and they two teams that have a good roster. There have been some injury issues. I mean, you know, the Texans have their top two receivers out. Um, but at the end of the day, I don't trust either of those teams.
You know what your problem is? You're basing last year on it. Like you're still scarred from last year, and you don't want to commit to this new 49ers because you don't want to be hurt, Omar.
No, I don't.
I
But I'm
think
going to be
that's what's
hurt.
going on. That
I'm going
guy,
to be
what?
hurt.
I forgot. I forgot his name already. I just call him the guy who got shot in the offseason. He's
Christian
contributing a
Pearsall.
lot.
Yeah,
Pearsall, that's right. Debo Samuel is choking the long snapper on the sideline today.
not a
This
good
team
look.
is a little volatile, but I think it can be harnessed.
Not a good look.
That was ugly. But the announcers did the thing where, like, I think it was Tom Brady, like, D-ball he's doing a one-handed choke on the snapper. And then Tom Brady's like, things are getting hot on the sideline. Like, no, we're about to have a civil war on the sideline, Tom Brady. This isn't things are getting hot. This is getting crazy
Yeah,
on the sideline. Although this was in Tampa and they did have the bench canopies. Did you see that?
I did. That was nice.
And did you see that both sides have to have a canopy? If one side has it, the other side has
Yep.
to have it.
Yep.
And Tom Brady even said this is a non-permanent structure. So do you see like these little helpers hold the canopy up?
Yeah,
What's
that's
going
pretty
on?
neat.
Why don't we have more canopies? See, I
I like
like Tom Brady. All right, let's talk about Pittsburgh, Washington. Arguably the funnest game of the day.
And a huge win for Pittsburgh. I think a statement win for sure.
Omar, never doubt the Russell Wilson moonball. Never doubt it. The moonball won this game.
Yep, he did.
Pittsburgh I had it here. Oh, okay. This happened in 2 games, by the way. Pittsburgh, it's 4th and 1. They could punt it back to Washington and they could have a possession. But Pittsburgh lines up to just hard count and Washington jumps off sides. Pittsburgh gets the first down, then they can just take a knee. Jesus, that's a rough way to lose a game.
Yep.
And they know they're going to hard count it. They know they're not going to run a play. And yet they get the worst penalty of the game. But then Jacksonville says, wait, hold my beer. We're going to stop you on 3rd down, Minnesota. But we're going to commit a personal foul and give you a first down, and you can take a knee. 2 of the most biggest idiotic plays of the day, Jacksonville and Washington with the game-ending penalty. All right, back to Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson, all in, thinking about it, or you don't like him? What's
Thinking
Pittsburgh
about
record?
it.
Haven't they lost 2 games and that's
Oh, here's the
it?
thing. This is what I want to see Pittsburgh do well, so I want to say you got to go all in on him.
Yeah, like Russell Wilson is like, this is the Russessance. He is back.
He's back.
And what a great call by Mike Tomlin to say, like, all right, we're starting you now. Because Pittsburgh wasn't like playing badly. Fields was okay. I mean, Fields was not good. I mean, let me walk that back. But they were winning, and you usually don't stray if you're winning. But he was like, fuck it, Russell, you're in. And look what they've done.
Steelers Nation, let's ride.
Baltimore next week is going to be front and center for me. Like, that's the game I need to see.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh,
it's gonna be a
Baltimore.
huge game.
All right, so Minnesota, Jacksonville. Weird score game.
Boring game.
What was that score? It was strange.
Man.
It was like 12 or something.
Boring game, but I do want to say I did like the Jacksonville Jaguars helmet too.
Jacksonville pulled a sneaky move where like, hey, maybe if we change our whole uniforms, nobody will know what team we actually are. Maybe that's the move. Look at us. It was like, who is this team?
Not good.
12-7 was this game. Chalk that up to an ugly Minnesota win. We don't care.
No.
All right, now we get to the late games, which were all bad. Tennessee at the Chargers.
Chargers won. Not much to talk about. Tennessee's a bad football team too.
Big game for the Chargers. They took care of business. I now call Will Levis the substitute teacher of quarterbacks.
Right.
Just
and next week
tries to run the offense, can't really do it, and you're glad when the day's over.
Next week, Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert. It's going to be a good game.
Okay, let's talk about biggest disappointments in the league. Jets and Dallas. Who would you rather be? Like, gun to your head, who would you rather be?
I think now we're talking about worst ownership in sports.
Right. You got to pick your owner.
Yeah. So, and then I would say that the Jets are the worst. The ownership is the worst in the AFC, and I'd say the Dallas right now, the way it's being managed, just from a player personnel standpoint, Dallas may be the worst managed team in. I mean, this is inexcusable.
They're bad too.
These signings and how they're not going after certain players, but then they're letting some players go, but for paying way too much for the ones that are coming in and letting the other ones go for cheap. It's just that I just think it's, here's I think I've already said this, my conspiracy Carmona. Here's my hot take. This will be my year-long hot take. Jerry Jones is getting ready to sell this football team. And I think he's
sell it.
He's getting rid of contracts. He's getting rid of certain debts, and he wants to max his profit on the way out the door. I don't see his kids as being people that want to work really hard and put in the time it needs. They got all the money in the world, and I think it's just going to be done. And I think Jerry is ready to sell the team.
Oh man, that's too hot. That's too crazy, Omar. You're full of crazy thoughts this week. You don't want to get on board with your own team, and you think Jerry Jones is going to sell the team? I don't know about this. He built a monstrosity of a stadium.
Yeah, he's gonna
leave that team to his kids.
He's gonna sell that, and he's gonna have all the money in the world. He doesn't need to leave them anymore.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a dollar thing for these super duper rich people. It's about getting the next win, whatever it is.
And he hasn't been able to do that.
That is a hot take. I'll give you that. Too crazy. I didn't see his press conference after the game, but I do know he's the only owner that gives a press conference.
He was not happy, and he was basically upset because they were talking about how the son came in on that incomplete pass to CeeDee Lamb, and his and his take is, what am I supposed to do? Tear the whole thing? Want me to tear the stadium down? He's like, we know.
Build a stadium that doesn't have the sun in your fucking players' eyes, dummy.
Yeah.
Did you see Houston Stadium that their roof is retractable?
Right.
Every stadium has figured this out, Jerry Jones. He should put like just some really big little like car blinders, like on your car, you flip down the sun shield. He needs some of those. Put those in there. That's his own fault. Like, how did you build a stadium and not anticipate playing afternoon games where the sun pokes in the stadium?
Right.
That was insane. That was insanely dumb. I gotta say, the best thing. Oh no, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save this for the awards. Cooper Rush starts, and the only interesting part about this game, because this was the Romo, Larry Nance game,
right?
They showed Trey Lance on the sideline, and Romo and Nance go, "Oh, are we going to see Trey Lance? He's got his helmet on, Jim. Here we go." But Cooper Rush comes in for the series, and then they go, "Oh!" Like, they both were audibly disappointed. Trey Lance comes in like the next series, gets sacked like a bunch of times. But that was the only exciting part of that game.
Yeah. Terrible game. Dallas is bad.
Oh my God, they're so bad. Micah Parsons is back. Didn't even matter.
Who's the head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year, opening day?
I don't know, but because I was going to ask you this, like, what team is calling Bill Belichick just to check in for the rest of the season? Like, hey, how's it going? Hey, you watched our game, right? What do you think? You think you could work with that team? Who do you think's calling Belichick? Dallas, New York Giants, Jacksonville? Like, to me, those are the three that I think should be making a run at Belichick. I don't know if they will, but I think they should try.
I think the Raiders will make a run at Belichick.
Well, I think they should too, but I think no way Bill Belichick wants to work for Tom Brady. I think he's just like, oh no.
Belichick has a young girlfriend who would love to live in Vegas.
Yeah, maybe that'll swing it. I think there's like no way he wants to work with for Brady. Not work with for Brady. He would be his boss essentially.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
I think Dallas needs to be calling Bill Belichick just weekly, just to check in, see how's it going. All right, let's do this game. New York Jets at Arizona Cardinals. The Jets are full on terrible, dumpster fire. Here's the reason I would have picked Dallas over the Jets, like gun to your head. I just think Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, I just think they're a better hang. I don't think I'd want to hang out with Aaron Rodgers on a losing team. I think he's miserable. And part of me couldn't be happier that Devontae Adams is miserable playing for the Jets. Like, oh, you left? Oh, I'm gonna go play with Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
we're gonna get the band back together, and they're terrible.
But now it's just like this is all about Devontae Adams, and like he's just not going to be happy.
But I know. I like that. I like that he's unhappy that he left the Raiders to a worse team.
Yeah.
How do you leave a worse team? The Jets cannot score points. They cannot score points. They can get a first down, and that's about it. Aaron Rodgers throws these little like jump balls. He's bad. He throws balls that are not catchable. I don't think there's any saving the Jets this year at all. I don't know what you do next year, but there's nothing redeemable about them. Do you think there's anything good about the Jets?
Nothing right now. Nothing.
Nothing on offense, nothing on defense.
Gardner, and that's it.
Honestly, I don't even know who that is. What about Arizona? Impressive win? Because they look
impressive win.
It looked like there's nothing they couldn't do.
Kyler Murray, 2 touchdown runs today, 2 incompletions. That is impressive work.
True? Wow. Maybe the Cardinals got some juice, got some bullets in the chamber. Last note I got before we do the awards, it's salute to service week in the NFL. Did you see what the Fox pregame show did?
Yes, very nice.
Yeah, they took their show to a naval base or something, or a naval yard. So they essentially went college game day and went on location, and Gronk jumps off a helicopter and swims to the set. And I'm like, oh, they did the national anthem with the servicemen, hands on the heart. Election was on Tuesday. And what do you think CBS does for their pregame? Not a damn thing. Just in the studio. I was like, wow, what a miss, CBS.
Let me tell you something. Another thing from CBS.
Didn't like it.
CBS has a statistic right now on their Instagram. The Dallas Cowboys are the first team in NFL history to trail by 20 plus points in 5 straight home games.
That was ugly, seeing all the disappointed Dallas Cowboy fans well, just shaking their heads. They haven't won a single home game either. That was terrible. The only good thing I had about the other good thing about the Cowboy game, did you see this? They showed George W. Bush was in the luxury box.
Yeah.
With Laura Bush. And then at one point, somebody brings him a plate of sliders. And man, those sliders look good. I was like, wow, I bet there's some good food in those boxes.
Oh, it's fantastic. I've been in a box.
Which one?
My law school roommate got tickets, and we got a box in Jerry World for a Niner game. This is back in maybe 14 or 15.
Oh, really? Look at you rubbing elbows with the glitterati.
And it was we'll have to do a show. I could do a show just on that experience.
Wow, how dare you withhold that information from me for the past 5 years? Unbelievable. All right, I think we covered everything. I love that Fox went on location. I mean, there's no reason to watch these shows unless they do something fun like go on location every week like College Game Day. That's the
Right.
only ESPN show that draws any ratings, and yet these pregame shows serve no purpose to me, and today's was fun. Fox wins the battle of the networks for that one. All right, should we do some awards?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's been a long Sunday. I'm still getting used to this time change. I feel like it's 2 a.m. But let's start with the most memorable moment of the day. And I got that Baker Mayfield last drive was something, man. That stiff arm on Bosa was unbelievable.
That was impressive.
I love Baker Mayfield. Like, we need him in this NFL. And then there was a play right after that where like somebody was on his back and he still flipped the ball out and got it to a receiver. So I went with most memorable moment, Baker's last drive.
I am going to go with my memorable moment, and it's probably the more fresher of all the moments from today, is the Detroit kicker. Basically two field goals that basically skinned both sides of the goalposts as the tied and won the game.
How mad at you were you at your own kicker today?
Oh, not good. We he's usually dependable. So he had a bad game, but we got to fix that.
He did the thing where he took off his helmet, on the sideline, and he revealed he kind of had this like mullet cut. I'm like, man, if you miss a field goal and you've got a silly haircut, you look like the biggest dumbass in the world.
Yep.
On the sideline when you do that. All right, next award, the Cringeworthy Award. I got 2 nominees. I got Sideline Fights, the Deebo Samuel long snapper one in particular, which Tom Brady just added a lot of emotion on the sideline. Like Tom Brady, they committing assault on the sideline. And second nominee, the Jacksonville and Washington penalties to end their own game. So cringeworthy, I think I'm going to go with the 2 penalties as my winner for the cringeworthy award. What do you got?
I want to go cringeworthy is any football team, 2 teams that call themselves football teams coming from the city of New York.
Wow.
Just New York football right now is what I think is the cringiest thing in the NFL right now.
Wow, is this some election backlash? We don't know. I'll mute your I'll mute your mic. Who'd you vote for? Next award. Most memeable moment. This one's a tough one. We don't always have one of these for the awards, but I got one this week. Memeable moment. I got sideline Russell Wilson. Did you see him on the sideline? Pumping everybody up, going down the line, going down the bench. I think you could do a lot with that. Make it into a GIF, make it a meme. Sideline Russ is my memeable moment.
My memeable moment is and you mentioned it, my star receiver trying to choke out my long snapper.
You're making that a meme?
It's not a good one.
Gotcha. What were they yelling about? The long snapper was ready to go too. He was not backing down. He was like, let's fucking go, man. There's sideline canopies here. I don't care. I'm going to beat your ass, Deebo. And it seems like he had the size on him too. I would have liked to have seen that fight. Next award, Best Innovation Award. I got 2 nominees. Number 1, the helmet visor. A lot of players wear the visor these days. I think that's a pretty cool feature dating back to, what would you guess, the late 80s?
Yeah.
The first visor I think I ever saw was Jim McMahon.
Yeah, that was obviously that was a classic one.
I think Randall Cunningham did a clear one for a while, but the first one I ever heard of was, Jim McMahon had a dark one because he had eye problems or something.
Yeah, those, but it was, for me, it was LaDainian Tomlinson that made him look really cool.
He always did the visor. I thought it hurt him because we never really saw what LaDainian Tomlinson looked like. Like, I didn't even know what his face looked like. So I got the visor, but also got a Best Innovation since we have so many blowouts today. sitting your starters in the fourth quarter, saving your starters. Good innovation.
That's a great innovation.
Yeah, games out of hand, sit them. I'm going to give it to sitting your starters.
Sitting
Planning
your
for the
starters.
future. All right, next award, the soundtrack award. I'm surprised we didn't hear this song once today because it was Salute to Service Day in the NFL. A lot of patriotism, a lot of election stuff, new turning the corner of the country. How come we didn't hear the song by John Mellencamp, Ain't That America? I think it's actually called Pink Houses, but it's got the lyric, Ain't that America, something to see. Ain't that America, a land of the free. How come we didn't hear that song today?
I don't know.
I don't know. It was right there. Fox NFL was right there. So that was my soundtrack award, John Mellencamp. Any soundtracks for this week, or do you want to stick with my patriotic one, or choose your own?
I like the patriotic one. But give me something. Something about the Steel City. I need a tough song that captures the Pittsburgh
I thought about
Steelers.
that too. A tough, like I almost went with Boz Scaggs' Lido Shuffle about quitting your job and hitting the road because you got a pink slip. I thought about that one.
That's Pittsburgh. Let's go with that one. The pink slip that everybody was giving Russell Wilson.
Right, like the man's putting his rules on you, but you got your own rules. You got to ramble, man. You got to hit the road. Yeah, so there's a song out there for that. We don't know what, but next award, the hot take. Do you want to stick with your hot take that Jerry
I'm
Jones
sticking with mine.
is
Jerry
secretly
Jones is
imploding
selling.
his own team? I don't believe it for
Yes.
1 second. I don't know why you would throw this slander on my show.
Throw it
But
out there.
it's a free country, Omar.
It's last I checked.
We have the right. Hot take. I got that maybe we witnessed a Super Bowl preview tonight on Sunday Night Football.
I
You don't like it?
I did at one point, but I'm just losing some faith in those Texans.
Okay. Hot take. Next award, the Sunday double feature. Let's go back to Pittsburgh. I was really impressed with Sideline Russ. Pittsburgh's win. Mike Tomlin looks like he might be Alonzo from Training Day at this point. So, you know how I only know one movie that really puts Pittsburgh in the center. And you know what that movie is? A movie starring Bruce Willis and Sarah Jessica Parker about the Pittsburgh River Police called Striking Distance.
Ouch.
That was a great movie, Omar. They have to patrol the river. There's a crime afoot. Striking Distance about river police was my Sunday double feature. Do you know Striking Distance? Ever heard of it?
Never heard of it.
Oh, come on. It's right up there with Under Siege 2.
I want to go with a football movie since we're on the topic of Pittsburgh. Again, just gritty win today. They won the week, in my opinion. And so I'm going to go with All the Right Moves.
That was a Pennsylvania movie.
Pennsylvania movie about the steel, the steel workers in high school football.
He didn't quit. You quit on us. And then they send Georgievich home. They kick him off the bus. Good Tom Cruise running movie. Undersized white guy cornerback. Like, a couple liberties taken, but it was the mid 80s. I guess we still had white cornerbacks in those days. Good, great Craig T. Nelson, too, as the coach.
Yep.
You know what's also good about that movie that they got right with the casting? Is every hard-ass coach carries a prop with them.
Yeah.
And Craig T. Nelson has the golf club. Like, coaches I had one that would always have a baseball bat on his shoulder. Shit like that. Like, someone who wrote that movie had a coach that carried that golf club. And they must have drawn from that because that was way too specific.
Yes,
I might add that to a double feature. All right, let's go to the announcer award is next. And I got Tony Romo and Jim Nance being so disappointed when Trey Lance didn't come in. He's coming in, Jim. Oh!
I want to also touch on Tony Romo. but the award, given that there were some signs out asking for Tony Romo to go back in.
Oh, I saw that. That was fun.
So that's my award. That's big time when you're the announcer on a nationally televised game and they're asking you to go back in. That's a boss move.
Yeah, I would like to see him suit up or just put a jersey on and run out of the tunnel just to get the crowd going and then run back in. Also, like if you're a fan of your team who's doing really poorly at this point in the season, but you're still going to their home game, the only thing you got is to make a creative sign. Like that's the only hope you have is I'm going to make a really funny sign and try and get on TV. Like that's it, because your team's not going to do good.
Yep.
Next award, the location award. And I went with SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. They hosted the Chargers game, and tomorrow night they host the Rams Monday Night Football game. So quick turnaround for SoFi Stadium. You get my location award.
No, my location award is going to be Munich, Germany, just because I think they deserve some award given that we sent them a crappy game. Hopefully,
what are you, a Germany apologist?
Hopefully they'll invite us back.
Yeah, really. Be like, wait. You're going to send us what? You're going to send us the New York Giants? Next award. Best quote. I got 2 nominees. This one, I think this one was from Pittsburgh, Washington. And there's a personal foul early in the game. And the announcer says, well, it's not a party until something gets broke. Good quote. I've never heard that before. Have you?
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Oh, really? Oh, it's a party's not a party until something gets broke. I've never heard that quote before. I liked it.
It's a good one.
And then I got as a second nominee, this was from Mike Tirico at the end of the game. A masterpiece? No. Mike Tirico getting in a quote on top of Collinsworth. Not easy to do. So those are my 2 quotes. I'm going to give it to a party's not a party until something gets broke.
I'll go with that. I'll second that. That's a nice one.
Yeah, I liked it. Never heard it before. Coach's award I gave to Mike Tomlin for having the balls to start Russell Wilson 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I got to second that one too. It's just it's a masterful job that Mike Tomlin's coaching performance right now with Pittsburgh.
Great call. Russell Wilson has gotten new life. Like we hated Russell Wilson 12 months ago. And all of a sudden it's like, this is his team. This is a Russessance. And the moonball is back.
The moonball's back.
Coach's award, or do you want to go to who won the week?
Who won the week? And I think I told you Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh and Detroit.
I went Russell Wilson won the week, but a little bit of an off-topic one. You know who won the week for me? DeAndre Hopkins.
Great.
He went from, where was he?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. He went from Tennessee and substitute teacher Will Levis to undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. And I think he had like 5 catches today too. He's contributing more and more each week. I think he won the week. DeAndre Hopkins is like, hey man, this season just got really good for me. I might win the Super Bowl. I got those 2 in a tie or runoff. We got to have a runoff election for those 2.
There you go.
All right. Those were the games. 1 game is left, Omar. You know what it is because it is Monday night. We have, I don't know, I kind of like this game. Miami goes into the Los Angeles Rams. Are the Rams good? Is Miami a worthy opponent? What do you think? Are you going to watch this game? Are you burned out at football at this point?
I'm going to try to watch. I think my son's got some basketball practice tomorrow that may, distract me. But I am going to go with, I'm going to pick the Rams to win this game. Miami's just one of those disappointing teams from this year. I want to go Rams 23, Miami 14.
Yeah, interesting. I'm with you. I want to pick the Rams. They're the feel-good story. But at the same time, I've been burned on all these teams that look good before games start. So I'm a little inclined to think Miami's going to pull this one off. However, I'm going to go with the Rams. And let's go 28-25. Rams. In SoFi, pulling double duty. Omar, it's been a long week for America.
It's been a long week.
We had an election. We had a full slate of games. It's a salute to service. We don't know what's going to happen with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. We should check on them tomorrow morning. Make sure that AT&T Stadium is not burned to the ground. Well, that was the Sunday Night Talk for Week 10. I don't know how we did it, but we did it.
Good times.
We will see everybody next week. Get some rest, Omar. Good night.